Hello, you island-hopping portal travelers. I am King Link, and this is a last look and review at Portal Knights. Now, I am going to talk a little more about, of course I'm going to talk more about the game, but I want to ask a personal thing. If you watch my videos, if you're watching this because it's a humble monthly bundle game, if you're just watching this because you like my content, I appreciate it. Thank you. If you would consider subscribing to my channel, I would be very appreciative of it. Every time I get a subscriber, I have like a little heart flutter because it's a special moment to me. Even on like Steam Connect, my Steam curator page, I have like 170 guys there. Every time I see that number go up, I'm like, holy crap, someone else cares. So if you care, consider it. The reason why I ask is because I have publishers and developers I'm reaching out to. I'm trying to build a community and get more games, get connections there, just so I can bring you a little bit better experiences, newer games. I won't be going away from my indie roots. I hate playing too many AAA games. I like to swap between them. It's not like hatred of AAA or love of indie. It's just, to me, I like the big budget title. I like the small budget title. I like to see something different. And indies give me a little more of that, but at the same time, those big budget titles are fun. I mean, come on, Mega Man X Legacy is the one I'm thinking about right now, and it's an amazing game. I'd like to get a review copy. I've reached out to them, and I'd just like to have a few more subscribers so I can show them that. That's all I'm saying. I'm sorry to interrupt this, but I felt like I had to do it. I promise I won't do this regularly, maybe once in a while, but for right now, that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, let's talk about Portal Knights, but again, I have to make one more break. There's going to be a spoiler warning here. I am going to show the game. I'm going to show late game stuff. I won't go into, so there's 3 acts in the game. I'm going to talk about Act 3. I'm going to talk about issues I have with the game, but I won't go into anything in Act 3 if I can avoid it. I might accidentally do that. I apologize if I do. So, if I do that, I apologize, but at the same time, I'm warning you, there's spoilers. I will show the first boss without a doubt. I don't know if I'm going to get a quest. I will go into Second World. I will show you a few early parts of the game, but for the most part, it's been said, if you want to go into this game fresh, maybe read my review, or just consider getting it. Now, let's talk about Portal Knights. I'm going to first read the description that they have on the Steam website, and just so you get an idea of how they see themselves. The world of Elysium needs you. Join this cooperative 3D sandbox action RPG. To level up your character, craft epic weapons, conquer enemies in real time, and build almost anything. Craft your adventure, forge your hero, become the ultimate Portal Knight. Now, that's an interesting promise. Build almost anything. I'm gonna forgive him for that because I can imagine like a twin-bladed katana that shoots more katanas. Can't build that, but reasonably so you can build in this game. Personally, when I look at this game, I see it more like a RPG, attached to Minecraft, and that's not a bad place to be. I have not played a game like that. I'm sure there's many out there that try to do that. This game does well. It has issues though, and we will get there. But let's first start with the character creator. We already looked at this in the first look. The biggest issue I have with the character creator is, you can put a beard on a woman. Issue? I don't know. You guys tell me. That's not a problem for me, but there is not a lot of decisions here. You do have like probably a couple million combinations of all these settings. Personally though, I did not find it deep, but at the same time I was able to go through this quickly. I would have liked more voices, but I also would have liked a reason for you to have a voice. Honestly, there's no voice. Ooh, she looks cool. Yeah, I don't know why there's no voice here. So, I like the idea of the game. I like the idea of customization. There's just not a big reason for it. This is the guy I created. I don't remember if this is my original guy, but I created him. He's kind of cool, you know. I guess. He's level 27. Now there's 30 levels in the game. I am done with the game. I beat the final boss. That's where I am. I am going to take you to the first world I created. I created a medium world and I created a small world. The medium world was fine. I went through 3 levels. I started getting annoyed because I couldn't find any certain items. I switched to small. It made it a little bit easier to find stuff, but I found out how random this game really is. And sadly, that's one of the first problems I have with the game. We will get there. I can't show you right away. I am going to show you. But we will talk about, I believe we're at the fort. Perfect Fort Finch. The name of the worlds are the same. The levels of the worlds are the same. The items are the same. Oh, perfect. I can do a quest here. So, unfortunately, you'll find the same enemies. There's not a big reason to replay the game from the beginning. I can show you a quest. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I don't want to bore you guys of, 10 minutes of me running around slashing enemies. I want to show you the game. And I am so over leveled that it's not interesting. Now this guy has given me a quest. The Guildmaster. He wants me to defeat 3 Thunder Gazers. Thunder Gazers are the flying beasties. That guy up there. I don't know if that guy's... What's it? I'm going to actually use a little trick I've learned. God help me if I have to redo this. Yeah, we'll just walk over there. So we can now, if you want in this game, you need to cross something. You can go and build a cross. This is actually really nice. It is similar to Minecraft, yes, and we will be talking quite a bit about this is just like Minecraft. Don't think of that as a negative. Think of that as a comparison, or if you've played Minecraft, you know what this feels like. Voila. And I've killed the first of the baddies. Now I have to kill 2 more. Ultimately, what this will get me is experience, and it will give me usually an item or 2. Money, usually. That is a good system. It is interesting to see the quests, and the quests are essential to leveling. If you try to level without quests, you're going to have a bad time. There's just not as much experience. You'll just have to kill a lot more enemies to get that experience. I am walking over here, if you're wondering why, and I'm going to take you to another big difference between this and Minecraft. If you are an avid oh, I can kill another one right here. Can I get him? Ooh. If you're a big Minecraft player and you really have followed it, you know that there is the ability to barter. This game takes it to the next tier. You just have shops. You can sell items, you can buy items. Now, the one problem I have with this is I am a top tier player. I have 27 levels. I'm not near the end game. I've actually ran through one of the final dungeons a few times to get a level or 2. That's great. I only have 1,000 gold. Gold is very hard to get in this game. You constantly are looking for it, but there's not a big use for it. There's just, you can sell items, and you could probably farm items. I'm pretty sure I could figure out ways to make a ton of money. I'm going to keep that. But at the same time, I also have the opposite problem of I don't know if I actually need gold. I don't know if I really care that much to get half of the items that are for sale. That is not needed. I already have one of those. I want to also sell the TNT. I'm just trying to clear up my inventory just a touch. Now you do have a max inventory. Oops, I left. We'll go back in. You do have a max to your inventory, so you do get into inventory management issues. Items stack pretty well, so you aren't constantly running into that. Okay, now I have 2,000 gold. I wish I could buy something I really wanted, but there's not much. A drawbridge, which is just furniture, and I don't think is even usable. 240. That's a lot. Oh well. So that is you do have shops. You don't have a big purpose for shops, but you do. A lot of the shops are selling furniture. That's to build stuff, and that's one of the issues I have with the game. In Minecraft, there's a reason to build a house. There's a reason to build a world. In this game, you constantly are moving between islands, and there's not as big a reason. As you can see, this is the castle. We will talk about this fort again. Just remember it if you can. If you can't, no worries. I'm not going to be testing you. Or am I? Perfect. So the big thing in this game is this idea that you're on a island. I'm now warping between islands, and you want to progress to the next area. With that being said, how do you progress? You go through these portals. You have to get stones. Early levels make it really easy. Just in this point in the game, you're trying to get 12 stones to get to the next area. Perfect. And there's the next portal. Oh, and there's a quest. Wonderful. This is actually what I was hoping for. We can get a quest and just see like an organic show up. Now these buildings that are around are what you usually see. I talk about randomness. You see the same buildings all the time. Sure, we will help this guy. Oh, perfect. I had a lumberjack axe. I'm now going to give it to him, and he's going to be happy. I'm not actually going to do it because that axe is actually very important to me. But you can see you get experience, you get gold, and you get an axe. Now, at this point in the game, I am at the end game. I have completed most of this game, leveled up a bunch. The experience from that would actually help you out quite a bit if you were at the right level. Later levels don't help as much. I need 100,000 more experience. You can see from that last screen. And the problem there is, I mean, I like the idea of the quests. They actually, there's a problem with them in that they start to disappear at a point in the game around Act 3. We'll talk about the acts a little bit later. I want to show you the differentiation. What do I mean by an act? But we'll get there. Perfect. Now I've built a bunch of stones. Now I've built portal stones. You get portal stones from doing anything. Watch. I will get one right now. Hey, there's an enemy. And there's a portal stone. Voila. Hey, here's some coal. There is first person and third person views. That is a nice touch. And sometimes you will get them here. Yeah, you will get experience from digging. You will sometimes get portal stones from digging. It's not as fast because obviously you can dig very easily. But theoretically, at some point, I could get a portal stone. I am getting experience. I do like the fact that digging does give you a small amount of experience. The sad part is it's small. I'm not getting the stone right now. Oh well. So yeah, so you get these portal stones. So at the first level it's 2, at the second level tier it's 3, and at the third tier it's 4. You just need more as you go along. Never that bad if you can find them. And if you misplace them, they actually pop pretty fast, so you can't just use them as normal stuff. You actually have to use it on the portal. So portals allow you to go to new locations, new islands, and there's about, well, there are 48 islands on a level, on a what they call a world. I'd like to call a universe because I feel like the levels are the worlds, but there's 48 islands. You progress, and eventually you will reach a boss. Now, I'm going to stop this world. I'm going to switch to my main world so that we can see a little bit farther. Like I said, spoilers, but I'm not going to go that far in the game. However, I just saw one thing before we go. We have the Spectral Knights. Now, these guys are the story of the game, in my opinion. There's not much here. And that is a problem. Like, I've just gone to a new world. There's not a discussion. The story appears at the beginning and end of the game, sadly. And I really, really find that disappointing. This, if you haven't seen a tower like this, I think we have, but it's really a cookie cutter piece. I know we've seen that tower before. All right, so let's step back. Now, if you remember the fort, keep that in your mind. We're gonna actually go and touch on that right now. We're gonna play offline. You can play online. I've found no one joins your game. You actually have to invite people to your game. I have not played multiplayer. I have not felt the need to, and you know, oh well. I mean, that's just me. I think if you want to play with friends, this game's good for it. But there's other games. Minecraft, of course, does that. Terraria. I just started looking at Starbound. That does it. It's a common feature in this genre. Here's another Spectral. So, this guy is telling us the quote-unquote story. These guys were added after launch, and that's fine, but that's the story of the game. There's not much here. And it's hard to show the lack of a story, but the problem for me is that the story just... It sets up this epic tale, almost like a Zelda or whatever. Portals are breaking, there's a calamity, voila. And then you get here, and there is not a real reason to keep moving. You don't really have anyone you follow along with or talk to on the way. You do talk to people for quests, but that's about it. The story doesn't happen. So, remember that fort we saw at the beginning of the game? Fort Finch? Here it is again on a small island. We don't have the house behind me, if you noticed that as I was walking back to this place, to the landing pad. But at the same time, this is the entire fort that we saw elsewhere. Every NPC is the same. Every character is the same. Every location in it is the same. The surrounding world does look different. The size of the world is different, but the randomness only affects the land and maybe a few what buildings are placed. In this case, it's always going to be the fort. It does not affect NPCs that are placed. You will see the same NPCs, and I think the same quests on every island. You will see, it's just locations. So, when I mentioned before, if I mentioned, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I talked a little bit about building. Yes, I did. So, this is my workshop. This is where I do all my working. And that's fine, except that there's no reason for me to build a house or anything else. I can't take this with me. I can come back here and work anytime I want, and that's what I did. But there's no like island that flies with me. There's no, and that would have been a cool feature. I would have loved to see like this landing pad that has an island attached to it, and around me I could build a little house and always have my house here. No. It's not like that. You basically have a work area on some island, and you'll just come back, or you build a new one somewhere else. Inventory management is better here. I will say that. I really do like the ability to store goods. The chests at the beginning... Excuse me. These chests at the beginning are very small. The chests in the late game get bigger and bigger, but size is always an issue. I collected all of this. Most of it is crap, and really the last 4 chests are the ones that really matter to me, and even there I probably will never use any of it, but it is good to have supplies. So the building aspects of the game do exist. I just don't feel a strong need to build. This game is all about adventure. I'm going to just mouse over, again, spoilers. I am going to look at the world. I apologize if you see a name, but I don't think the names are that important. But basically, the goal of the game is to get to the end of it. It is not to explore, it's not to build, and that's okay. It's just, if you're hoping for a deep game with the story, or you're hoping to build great towers, you can build You can make up a story, but there's not that. Neither of those are here. This is more of a true action RPG, like Diablo, and the original Diablo, and go to the end of the game, beat the final boss. We're not going to tell you much more. There is more story than that in Diablo, but that's the idea. Now, let's talk about the progression. In the game, you can level up, of course, but in addition, all of these places at the early place have... Oh, let's actually travel here. Have a specific type of ore. The first ore you get is copper, then you move up to iron, then you move up to gold, and finally, I believe there's titanium. So, each of those is punctuated by a boss, with the exception of titanium. That's in Act 3. We'll talk about that in a minute. When you're exploring in the game, you will mine, and there's one issue with the mining, and I think this is an issue that I'm half and half on. I don't think it's a big issue. I think it is a concern, in my opinion. Hey, look, there's some ore. Or this is actually fire rubies. Let me find some ore. There's some ore. There's some more ore. Mining is skin deep. Now, there are mines that you can go into. You can dig a mine of your own. There's never a need to. In Minecraft, the idea of the game is to get collect your materials and then build something great. That's a good plan. In Portal Knights, the idea is to quickly collect your material and get to the next world. Neither of these are bad. It's not wrong to collect items, or to make it easy to get the ore. It's just a different thing. It's not made for resource collection, and that's fine. However, since we are here, let's take a look at something else. The cactus here. Yeah, one thing that Minecraft did that I thought was really interesting is they made everything into very blocky shapes. I have mixed opinions on it. I think it worked well for that game. In this game, I think it would be very clear that it was aping it, but at the same time, they went with this almost realistic-looking feel to it. You can't get injured on it, but realistic-looking cactus, enemies, and so on. Okay, but to me, I feel like with the blocky shape of the world, like, it does not... I believe the word is verisimilitude. It's at odds with each other. Basically, it does not paint one clear picture. You have a blocky world and very detailed, or good-looking, let's say, plant life and everything. Like that, this plant here looks pretty good. If you've ever seen cactus that grow like this, that's what it looks like. It's missing the thorns, but that's fine. The cactus looks real. The blocks, yeah, you can make blocks out of it, but that's not how real life is. You're not going to find big chunks of stone. You're going to find carved pieces. So the world doesn't fit in with the graphics of the cactus and the trees in this game. Do I see a tree? There's a tree. Palm trees. One. Oh, hello. Or enemies. Magnet. And speaking of enemies, that's another issue I've had. While I'm talking about this, I'm just going to make a little pool here, and we can watch the water disappear a little bit. I find this really cool. They do have really good physics on the water. It's even better than the Minecraft, in my opinion. You can actually have it trail to lower areas that are more than 8 steps away. And for the most part, we've just created a new pool lower. I actually created this path, and it drained the water here, and I believe it drained the water down into this hole. Oh, it kept going down. And it actually drained all the way here. Chests. Chests are good, are interesting. The issue I have with chests themselves is they refill every time you leave and come back to the level, so the loot is never that exciting. You can always just reopen a chest. Events are different, but that's another story. Now, What was I talking about? Oh, enemies. So there are about, I believe there's, one sec, I will get the exact number. I have it written down like next to me. So there's a certain number of enemies. It's not coming up. 16 types of enemies. There you go. 16 types of enemies, and so like the maggots are one. There's skeletons that are another. There are bigger skeletons. That's a third. There's monkeys. There's a couple types of monkeys. There's and so on. The problem with that is you find all of these enemies before the second act is over, and there's 4 or 5 types of everything. You never have a... There's very few unique enemies. There's the bosses, and that's about it. Everything else will appear multiple times in the game. Oh, there's a skeleton. There's a fallen squire. You also have a fallen knight. Same guy, different eye socket. I believe there's like 2 other types, fallen acolyte and so on. I like the idea of having enemies. I just wish there was more exploration. And hey, look, there's a dusty maggot instead of a magma maggot. There's a bomb glazer who looks like the... Sorry, I killed him so fast. Bomb glazer who looks like the thunder gazers we were seeing. Gazer, not glazer. And that's a problem for me. I feel like the enemy types could have been different. Now, we are getting long in this discussion. There's so much more. There's like I said, I put in 20 hours in this. There's more I have in the description. If you're interested in that, there's more in the full review. If you're interested in that, it's in the description. I'm going to quickly play a boss, just so you have an idea what type of bosses are. And then we'll call it a day. There are events in the game. Honestly, I don't want to spend the time explaining it, but the events are interesting at first. I did about 10 of them before I started getting bored of it. After that point, I started getting a little bit tired of events. I think I'm up to 20, 25, and really I only do an event if it takes me less than 5 minutes because they don't have a good reward system for it. So, this is a boss. He gets his own arena, which is cool. I have to admit, like, all 3 bosses in the game are decent fights. They're easy. The first boss, this guy, is relatively simple. Just dodge out of his way. The second boss is a little harder. He is a good challenge. And the third boss, you have to hit his butt a second time and he will fall down. The third boss is rough, but I feel that that's mostly because of levels. So anyways, we get to this boss. Up to this point, we've seen only copper ore. So you only have copper weapons. I currently have the titanium weapons. That's the endgame stuff. There is post-endgame content, but not too much. But you only have copper. Eventually, you beat this guy. You go up to tier, and then you can build the higher tier items. So you can go and build. There we go. You can go and build the iron gear. If you have the levels for it, you can start equipping it, and voila, I've killed him. Again, I am a higher level than him. It is not shocking that that was so easy. The actual fight took me, I think, twice as long. It's not a very hard fight, but ooh, there's a scroll. The scroll is actually worthwhile. Ah, I got an item. I can now craft something new. Anyways, so I don't want that. There we go, threw it away. So, with that all being said, I mean, I'm gonna grab that cape. Sweet. So, you get to the second tier. Oops, my bad. You get to the second tier. You start getting the next tier of items, and then you go to the third tier. Levels are actually pretty easy to get in the first 2 acts. Now, the real problem of the game for me is, even though we have the same enemies, oops, I meant to leave the game. Even though everything has the same enemies, if it was the same progression of Act 1 and 2 to go to Act 3, I actually might be more forgiving of this game. The problem is Act 3 wore on me. It's harder to get levels. It's harder to fight some enemies just because they are stronger. I was level 27. I was over level 10 on the first act, over level 20 on the second act. That's how fast you level up. Act 3, I was at the final boss at level 24. I had to level up to level 27 just to even have a good shot at him. That's grindy to me. And they start taking away the amount of quests that you have. They kind of remove the ability to fully enjoy the game, in my opinion. And it just starts becoming almost like work. There's 2 types of ore at level Act 3, and it just feels like they ran out of steam and they're just like, here's 2 different types of ore. There's no reason for it. The game was fine up to that point, and the progression was fine, and I was having fun. Act 3 came around, and everything just started coming out off the rails. We started having less quests, harder to level, and it wasn't as interesting. Now, that's fine, but it just didn't sit right with me. The enjoyment that I had for about 12 hours started changing, and now I'm up to 24 hours. I'm probably at 24 hours, and that final act just was not as enjoyable, and it just ruined a lot of the experience. Now, the game itself was good. If you want to go and build something, this game does have the building style. There's a lot of bricks you can create. There's crafting. There's tons of things. But for an action RPG, like, that's where they put it at. I want more. I wanted a story, a reason to keep fighting. I wanted a reason to keep coming back. And it doesn't provide that. Instead, it provides this level up so you can get to the next island, so you can level up so you can get to the next island. And it wears off after a while because it stops becoming a really fast cycle and it becomes a slower motion. There's other issues. Like I said, I'm not going to go through everything here. Please read the written review. It has more. It explains what I felt in my 20 hours. And that is a long time to play this game. Value-wise, I think there's a good value here. It is $20 on Steam. It's more expensive on other platforms, and I have mixed opinions on that. I understand a little bit of the business side of things when you go to another platform, what changes, but at the same time, to me, Steam is getting more patches, more updates, and faster updates. So something to consider if you're looking at this game for any platform. Personally, I would go Steam. Right now, it's in the Humble Bundle. It's in a package deal, and for that, it's good. But we need to give this game a review, or give a final score to this game. And it's hard for me. Like I said, Act 2, I would have given this a 4 without question. But I really started thinking about the game, and once I got to the end of the game, I wasn't having as much fun. It kind of wore off, and I started seeing the game. I started having a few more glitches. Literally, after I got to the second act, I started having text boxes not show up correctly, and I posted about it. The developer tried to get back to us. He came back a week later, which is a long time. It fixed with the reboot, but I don't know why. I can't put my machine into sleep mode with this game running, otherwise it crashes, it loses the D3D and it actually crashes the game. I've had situations, I actually have 40 hours on this game, and that's because sometimes the game just doesn't quit correctly, or doesn't exit, and I just basically rack up another 10 hours on the game because it's just in a black screen. So odd things like that happen. And with everything said, I feel like this game deserves a recommendation, but a weak one, a low one, let's say. Not weak necessarily, but just a low recommendation. For me, that puts it at a 3 out of 5. Not bad. I mean, this is not a bad game. I still think it's good. If you want a Minecraftian game with more RPG elements, there's this, and that's not an awful thing. I put 20 hours in. Honestly, out of the 24 hours, maybe only a couple were bad. I enjoyed myself, but it's just not as strong as I thought. And I think I said, but originally I thought of the Humble Bundle as this is going to be my best game. Hearts of Iron is going to be my second best. And Black Wake's going to be my worst. And now that I've reviewed them all, I won't tell you what the scores are. You gotta go check those videos out. But I found that this game, Black Wake is my favorite out of them all. Hearts of Iron is still my middle. You know, can't move too far. And then this actually was the lowest score out of the three. It's a shame because this should have been the easy game to win, for me to love. It's not. It's still enjoyable. Worth checking out. But personally, I think there's better games out there. So that's what I think about Portal Knights. With that being said, that's pretty much it for this game. And I'm King Link. If you, like I said earlier, and I'm gonna repeat it here. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like. If you want to see more, I do the Humble Bundle monthly, every month, reviewing the early unlocks. Right now I'm putting up a video every day, either a first look or a last look. I look at the first 30 minutes of a game. I look at the game after I've done, just like we've done today. So if you like that, subscribe or consider subscribing. I've heard that you should say consider, whatever. Subscribe, please. I'll beg. No, so that's fine. If you like more information about this game, want to see the full review, the review is in the description, as I've said a couple times, I believe. And you can check out my site. It will have this review and others at kinglink-reviews.com. If you want to see what I'm up to, I do have a Twitter account at kinglink-reviews. That's one word. That one talks more about... It does show new posts, but it also shows just discussions about what's going on in games. You know, maybe new games launching and all that. That's available. And with all that being said, you know, I'm going to jump back in this. I'm going to check out one more thing or two more things. But I think I'm pretty much set with this game. I'm going to go. You guys have a good day, and I'll see you next time.